Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important concept of Angular, that is Singleton Service. So by the end of the session, you will be able to understand what is the concept of Singleton Service, why do we need Singleton Service concept, and what are the basic syntax or structure that we usually follow to create this kind of service. But before we proceed further with the session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow them sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to use Singleton Service in Angular. Okay, so today we will firstly start with the question itself, like what is exactly the term Singleton Service. So if someone asks you what is Singleton Service, so you can simply say that a singleton means only one instance of a class exists during the app's lifetime. It means like if you created an application with Singleton Service, then in that case singleton means only one instance of a class will exist throughout the lifetime of the application. Okay. Now if we talk about in terms of Angular, Angular Singleton Service means only one object of the service is created, and then all components and services that inject it share the same instance. Okay, so if you are using only one object of the service and you have created only one object of the service, then all other components and services that inject it will share the same instance. Okay, now the question comes, how the other component use it? So Angular uses dependency injection to control this. Okay, so if someone some components wants to use this service, they can use dependency injection concept, which we already discussed, right? Okay, fine. So this thing is ready. Now we will talk about how does Angular make a service singleton. So how we will, like we have service, we learn about service, we talked, we discussed a few examples as well, but how we can create a singleton service. To understand this concept, what you will do, you will simply go and talk on these pointers which I have noted down here. So by default, if you use @injectable provided in value as root, then in that case Angular make it as a singleton. Okay, so when we create a service, what we will do, like we get this kind of file, right, where provided in value is a root. So we can simply say that the default service is a singleton service. Okay, so if it comes with this provided in value as root in injectable, then it is a singleton, and same thing is written over here. By default, if you use @injectable provided in root, Angular makes it a singleton. So basically it is registered, it registers the service in the root injector of the app level. Okay, so it injects it at the root, it registers the service in the root injector of app level. Okay, fine. Now the second thing is, third thing is, Angular creates the instance once when it's first needed. Okay, so when it will create only at the time when it is firstly needed, not every time. Okay, afterwards every component that injects it gets the same reference. Okay, so this is also a point, that Angular creates the instance once when it's first needed, and afterward every other component that inject it gets the same reference. Okay, then we have fifth point, which shows this avoids duplicate copies and ensure consistent state. Okay, so it ensures the consistent state. Now the next question is, why are Singleton Service useful? That is also an important question. We got the concept of Singleton Service, like what it is, how it is created, but my question is, why are Singleton Service useful? So they are useful, they are perfect for shared global state. So if you want to maintain the shared global state, then in that case Singleton Service is useful. Now let's talk about some of the great examples, like authentication state, logged in user info, global settings or configuration, shared login system, data caching across components. So these are the all pointers that are the good examples of the Singleton service that are used for the used for shared global data. Okay, now we can we can clearly say that without a singleton service, every component would create its own copy, leading to a inconsistent data. Okay, now to understand this thing, like without like we all know that if you are not defining the singleton service, then in that case every component has to create its own instance, right? In that situation, things would be different for each and every component because they are declaring the service by their own, right? Alright, okay, so let's talk about the examples, but in a very layman terminology. So imagine a TV remote in a living room is there, where everyone like mom, dad, kids share the same remote, right? So if the dad changes the channel of any of the television of the TV, everyone sees it the change. Okay, so you can say that one remote is controlling the television, and once it is changed, it will be impacted for every member of the house, because once channel is changed, it is changed for everyone, right? So that's a singleton service, one shared instance. That means you can relate it with the remote control. Then the second thing is, when is service not singleton? So if you provided it in a components provider array, then we can simply say that it is not a singleton service, because now component have their own providers instance in a providers array, right? Then every time that component is created, a minute instance of the service is made. Okay, examples: parent and child both provide logger service in a providers. Each one gets a different logger instance, because now each one having the different instances, right? So this can be useful. When it is useful, it can be useful only if you want to isolate the stated if you want isolated state. Okay, then we have key takeaways, which shows singleton means one instance shared by the whole application. Angular makes service singleton by default when provided in root. Great for shared state and global utilities. Not singleton if provided in a component or lazy loaded feature, new instance created. Okay, now let's take the analogy. So analogy is singleton one TV remote for family, for entire family, but in case of non-singleton, every person has their own remote. So that is the good example to understand the concept of singleton service and a non-singleton service. So if in an interview someone asks you what is the difference between singleton and non-singleton, so you can simply say that if you find the providedIn value as root in injectable, then it is a singleton service, otherwise it is a non-singleton service. Or in proper way, like you can also say that singleton service is a service that creates only one instance, but in case of non-singleton service, multiple instances will be created as per the what we can say, as per the different components. Okay, so these are the all point which I would like to share with you all regarding this singleton service concept. Now to practically implement this thing, I have already showed you how to create services and how to make use of it. We talked about the some of the values of the providers, right? So that you can just give a try and try to understand the concept, and always go with a modern approach. Okay, don't follow the legacy thing. That was just for explaining you like how it was working earlier and how it is working now. And in case while doing the practical thing, if you found there is any issue, or if you want to discuss anything particularly related to any particular session or a playlist or a session, so you can just simply reach out to me through the comment section, and I'll try my best to help you out there with the comments. And in case if you have suggestion also regarding any of the session or any of the playlist, you can simply put it in a comment section so that I can see that feedback, and I'll try my best to work accordingly. Okay, but please do practice. If you are not following it in a sequential manner, you can refer the Sharmit digital course book, which is freely available for everyone in the comment section in the description. So from there you can find it out. Okay, and again, if you have suggestion related to that book also, just let me know. I'll try my best to accommodate all those changes in the Sharmit digital course book as well as in the sessions. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today, where we discussed about the singleton service, how it is created, why it is useful, and the difference between the singleton and non-singleton service. In the next session we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching TechSharmit.